I do.
So let's talk in very practical terms. Let's give us an example, and we'll show you what we would do, and then we will explain to you the vibrational accuracy behind it.
So an example, my 5-year-old son, he goes down the stairs. He can see in his sister's bedroom window now, and he wants to talk with her through it, and she says, "Go away." And he is very quick to respond to things. "I hate you. This is the worst day in the whole world." And he gets on. I mean, he's very dramatic. And this is another thing that's a bit hard for me, because he'll wake up, "This is the worst day ever. I hate life." And I want to go, "You little ungrateful," you know. But that's how I feel sometimes.
So let's say that he wants to play with his sister. And so he offers her an invitation, and she rebuffs him. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty obvious. It may or may not be that she's in alignment. In other words, she might be involved in something else. So let's say she's not in alignment, and so she doesn't want to play. And he then is out of alignment. So those are conditions that we want you to accept that you cannot control. Mm-hmm. We want you to accept that as conditions that you must not control. Just for a minute. Stay with us for a minute. So, this is the worst day of my life, he is saying. And then you don't say, "This is the worst day of my life." You say, "You ungrateful little..."
Well, I don't say that.
We know
but
that
he
you
feels
don't.
that.
Well,
yeah.
the universe doesn't hear what you say.
Yeah.
The universe hears what you mean.
Yeah.
And so, because you're communicating vibrationally, not with words. So, since we don't want you to try to do the impossible, which is control their relationship with each other, their behavior. The only thing that we're asking you to do is to control your own. Mm-hmm. So, we're asking you to be mindful of your response. Mm-hmm. But we're asking you to do it in a way that will work for you by saying, be mindful of your alignment before you are mindful of your response. If you haven't taken the time to consistently make sure that you're in vibrational alignment, then you're not prepared to go out into the world, because you're too easily influenced by vibrational patterns that suck you away from the alignment of your source. Now stay with us. Why would that even be possible? Because that vibration is active within you. Otherwise, that would not even be possible. Now, you might say, "My kids have trained me into that. I wasn't that way before they were that way." And we say, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter why you're that way. But the fact of it is, if you can't hold your alignment with Source, that means you've been practicing another thing that's active in your vibration. And so they're calling you there rather than Source calling you here. Because once you're practicing this, once you've practiced that unconditional love, you've got it. But most of you have not been practicing unconditional love. You've been practicing conditional love. When the kids are good, you feel so good. When they behave with each other, you feel so good. And when they're nice to each other, your heart just swells. You're so happy and so proud. But that's conditional love, you see. Mm-hmm. They came to help you remember unconditional love. They didn't come to jump through hoops. They didn't say, "Okay, let's go forth and make Mommy's world perfect while we're around." Let's just train her into more and more conditional love, and then when we grow up and leave, she won't be able to stand it, because her love's been conditional upon our being around. Mm-hmm. They're ready to go off to school, and you say, "No, don't go! Don't go! My very happiness depends upon the nice way you've been treating each other." Mm-hmm. It's much better to say, "Go, go!" You hear what we're saying, and we know it's easy to hear it and impossible to apply it if you apply it from any perspective other than finding your alignment first. Mm-hmm. So what do we say? You must be unconditional. You can't control the way they're behaving. You got to feel good anyway. But you can't just jump into a situation that you've already got active vibration in and feel better. So unconditional love. Let's give you a new definition. You're going to like this. It's going to make all of this more meaningful to you. Unconditional love means having discovered and practiced, having accomplished, achieved alignment regardless of condition. In other words, I don't need conditions to line up in order to feel good. I've practiced it again and again and again. I'm just there. Doesn't matter what you're doing. I practice thinking about you. Do I love them or hate them? Love them or hate them? Well, of course, I love them. Do I want to feel good or bad about them? Well, of course I want to feel good. Are they lovely or not? Of course they're lovely. Are they well-meaning or not? Of course they're well-meaning. Were they born with guidance? Of course they're born with guidance. Do they need me to be their guidance? Of course they don't need me to be their guidance. Do they have an inner being? Of course they have an inner being. Is their inner being loving them all the time? Of course their inner being is loving them all the time. Do I teach through my words? Do I teach through example? I teach through example. In other words, just keep talking yourself back into alignment and back into alignment. And you know already, your children reflect the way you feel. Mm-hmm. You wake up, when you're troubled about something, they misbehave. Because in the same way that they're taking you're taking your cues from them often, they're taking their cues from you often. Absolutely. And then you're all holding one another hostage. I don't feel good because of something you're doing. It's the biggest trap in the world, and it is a reason for child-parent resentment. In other words, it goes on for generations and generations. You can be well past the time that you're spending very much time with your children or with your parents and still resenting them because you've practiced that vibration, because they couldn't find a way to adjust the condition of their beingness enough to hold you steadily in alignment with Source, which is what you thought was their job. You ungrateful child. Seriously, it's your job to appreciate all the sacrifice I do for you. I'd much rather be in the nail salon than cooking your meals. I would much rather be out lying in the sun than tending to you. The majority of my life I spend just trying to make your world perfect. And now, just because it's not all perfect, you have the nerve to be disconnected. What you want to say to them is argue away, little ones. It's the way you find your balance. Feel what it feels like to be mean, feel like what it feels like to be hateful, and then feel like what it feels like to be loving. And you just consistently show that loving, 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 and you have 100% of your conversations about their behavior from your place of alignment, so that you're complementing their alignment, you're emphasizing their alignment, you're activating their alignment. You're not trying to stop the momentum of misalignment, because that only adds to it every single time, no exceptions.